Nostradamus, the enigmatic French astrologer, physician, and seer of the 16th century, remains one of the most discussed prophets in history. His book, Les Prophéties, published in 1555, contains 942 quatrains, 4-line verses written in a cryptic and poetic style. Many people believe that these verses predict significant world events, including wars, natural disasters, political upheavals, and even the end of the world. However, the interpretations of his work are often subjective, with scholars and enthusiasts debating the meaning of his words for centuries. His unique writing style, using anagrams, symbolic language, and mixed linguistic elements from Latin, Greek, and Old French, makes his predictions even more challenging to decipher. One of the most frequently cited predictions attributed to Nostradamus is the rise of Adolf Hitler. In one quatrain, he wrote, "From the depths of the west of Europe, a young child will be born of poor people, who by his tongue will seduce a great troop. His fame will increase towards the realm of the East." Some interpreters claim that Heisler, mentioned in another quatrain, refers to Hitler. This interpretation suggests that Nostradamus foresaw the ascent of the Nazi leader and the devastation caused by World War II. However, skeptics argue that the vague nature of his writings allows for multiple interpretations, making it easy to retrofit historical events to his verses. The predictive power of Nostradamus remains debatable, as critics highlight that Hitler's rise was a result of socio-political factors that could have been anticipated without supernatural insight. Another widely discussed prophecy is Nostradamus's supposed prediction of the 9/11 terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City. A quatrain reads, "The sky will burn at 45 degrees. Fire approaches the great new city." Immediately, a huge, scattered flame leaps up. Some believe that the great new city refers to New York, and that the burning sky describes the attack on the Twin Towers. Yet critics point out that Nostradamus never explicitly mentioned airplanes or terrorist acts, and the geographic reference is ambiguous. Additionally, some alleged predictions circulating online have been falsely attributed to him, adding to the confusion. The lack of precise names, dates, or direct references further diminishes the credibility of such interpretations. Nostradamus is also credited with foreseeing the French Revolution. One of his quatrains states, "From the enslaved populace, songs, chants, and demands, while princes and lords are held captive in prisons. These will in the future be headless idiots taken as divine prayers." Supporters of Nostradamus's prophecies argue that this verse accurately describes the revolutionary fervor, the storming of the Bastille, and the execution of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette by guillotine. While this seems like a plausible prediction, critics counter that revolutions have been common throughout history, and similar language could describe other uprisings. Nostradamus may have been reflecting on the cyclical nature of history rather than providing a precise prediction. The rise and fall of Napoleon Bonaparte is another event often linked to Nostradamus's writings. He wrote, "An emperor will be born near Italy, who will cost the empire a high price. They will say that from the lesser town he has come, with his tongue he will command a great army." Napoleon, born in Corsica near Italy, did indeed command a vast army and change the course of European history. However, skeptics argue that the ambiguity of Nostradamus's words allows for various leaders to fit this description. Additionally, Corsica was under French rule at Napoleon's birth, raising doubts about whether Nostradamus truly singled him out or whether the passage merely describes the characteristics of many historical rulers. Some believe Nostradamus predicted the assassination of John F. Kennedy. A quatrain reads, "The great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt, the evil deed predicted by the bearer of a petition." This passage is said to allude to Kennedy's assassination in broad daylight and the alleged forewarnings of his death. But as with other interpretations, the vagueness of the wording makes it difficult to conclusively connect the prophecy to this specific event. Furthermore, the phrase thunderbolt could metaphorically refer to any sudden death, including those of other political leaders who faced assassinations throughout history. Looking toward the future, Nostradamus's writings are often revisited whenever a significant global event occurs. Some claim he predicted World War III, describing conflicts between two great powers, and the land of the rising sun trembling. These lines have been interpreted to suggest potential conflicts involving China, Russia, or the United States. However, the lack of specificity makes such predictions open to manipulation based on current geopolitical tensions. Nostradamus's text contains numerous references to wars and great powers, which could be broadly applied to many past, present, and future conflicts. Another recurring claim is that Nostradamus foresaw climate change. A quatrain states, "For 40 years the rainbow will not be seen. For 40 years it will be seen every day. The dry earth will grow more parched and great floods when it is seen." Some interpret this as a reference to extreme weather patterns, prolonged droughts, and rising sea levels caused by global warming. However, others argue that the wording is too vague to be definitively linked to modern climate science. Natural disasters, droughts, and floods have been recurring phenomena throughout history, and Nostradamus's writings could be referencing earlier events rather than predicting future climate change. There are also interpretations suggesting that Nostradamus predicted the COVID-19 pandemic. A widely shared quatrain states, "The great plague of the maritime city will not cease until death is avenged. Blood of the just will be demanded of London, and ruin struck upon the great city with pestilence." Some see this as a reference to the pandemic, given the rapid spread of the virus worldwide. However, pandemics have occurred throughout history, and the details do not perfectly align with the COVID-19 crisis. Similar claims were made about Nostradamus predicting the Spanish flu of 1918 and the Black Death of the 14th century, demonstrating how his words can be retroactively linked to various health crises. One of the most ominous interpretations of Nostradamus's work is his alleged prediction of the end of the world. Some quatrains describe celestial disruptions, earthquakes, and a great king of terror descending from the skies. These have been linked to theories about asteroid impacts, nuclear war, or other apocalyptic scenarios. However, Nostradamus never provided a specific date for the world's end, and similar apocalyptic visions exist in various religious and mythological traditions. The recurring theme of destruction in his work may reflect general fears of mortality and societal collapse, rather than a precise forewarning of a singular catastrophic event. Despite the fascination with Nostradamus's prophecies, it is important to recognize the limitations of his writings. His quatrains were intentionally obscure, using symbolic language, anagrams, and metaphorical references to conceal their meanings. This has allowed for an almost endless range of interpretations, with people often shaping his words to fit historical and contemporary events. Furthermore, some of the most dramatic claims attributed to him are misquotes or fabrications created long after his death. In conclusion, Nostradamus's legacy endures because of the mysterious nature of his writings and the human tendency to seek patterns in chaos. Whether he truly foresaw future events, or whether his work is a masterful exercise in vague prognostication, remains a subject of debate. While his prophecies continue to intrigue and inspire, they also serve as a reminder of the dangers of confirmation bias, seeing what we want to see in ambiguous words. Ultimately, Nostradamus remains an iconic but enigmatic figure whose predictions will likely continue to spark curiosity and speculation for generations to come. His impact on literature, popular culture, and the field of prophecy is undeniable. And his quatrains will likely be reinterpreted for centuries to come, adapting to new historical contexts and emerging global events.